Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. And today we got a new video here, and this one is Scariest Moments Ever Caught in Prison. We'll get right into this, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, hit subscribe button, comment your thing down below. Let's go!
2018, at a Houston County jail in Georgia, two individuals by the name of Shane Joseph and Willie Ames were tasked with garbage duty. Their escape attempt occurred on an eventful day during this assignment. While they were in the process of disposing of trash outside the prison's perimeter, they were under the watchful eye of a guard who ensured they carried out their duties. To their surprise, the guard afforded them some freedom of movement. Recognizing this as their opportunity, the men seized the moment and made a quick dash for liberty. Their desperation for freedom drove them to sprint away, while the guard urgently called for backup. Unfortunately, their escape plan encountered difficulties. A few days later, the driver was located in a nearby apartment, and Sepe was discovered hiding in a barn 3 miles away. Both men were eventually apprehended and returned.
So I'm sorry about, first of all, sorry about the whole me having to go down as family and the thing started downloaded even though I never clicked it. But as for this, these are two dumbasses who just somehow let's go double check. Okay, yeah. Well, let's just double check it didn't download. These two dumbasses tried to escape from prison and somehow didn't get very far before getting arrested again. Smart people. This is why you don't try to escape from prison, kids, because now they're just going to have more charges added on. They're going to be there longer than they were before if they didn't do this.
To prison, where they faced additional sentences.
Yep.
In this captivating video, we are drawn to an extraordinary tale of escape featuring the infamous El Chapo, known for—
Oh, I know this one. That El Chapo, somehow they dug a whole tunnel from where his prison thing was all the way to somewhere where he was able to involve the bicycle they had on the ground. They really sketched this one out. When I hear this, I am always genuinely impressed by this.
For his criminal prowess and remarkable skills in breaking out of prisons. As we closely examine the footage, our attention is drawn to El Chapo's intriguing behavior within his cell. At a certain point, he leans forward, seemingly engrossed by something on the shower floor, only to then sit down and nonchalantly remove his sandals. What happens next is truly astonishing. In the blink of an eye, he vanishes from sight. El Chapo, whose real name is Jaquan Guzman, has devised a brilliantly audacious plan to secure his freedom. He meticulously constructed a concealed underground tunnel beneath the prison shower, executing his escape plan with precision. Unlike the discreet—
Also, did he just say Jaquan? I don't think that's how his name is said. I don't think it's Jaquan. I don't think that's how his name is said, my friend.
chiseling depicted in Andy Dufresne's escape in The Shawshank Redemption, El Chapo resorted to loud hammering. Remarkably, the guards stationed outside chose to dismiss the noise. The video captures his restless pacing as he awaits the perfect moment to emerge from the tunnel. When he finally surfaces, we catch a glimpse of a smuggled mobile phone on his desk, which played a crucial role in his escape. To evade detection, he cleverly raises the volume on the television near his bed, masking any suspicious sounds. This tunnel spanned an impressive mile underground, leading to a property owned by El Chapo's wife, an incredible stroke of luck. The construction of this tunnel can be likened to a masterwork, akin to the drug smuggling tunnels his cartel constructed between the US and Mexican borders. It features illumination, proper ventilation, and even a rail system. Remarkably, an adapted motorcycle was used to transport the necessary digging tools. El Chapo successfully evaded capture for 2 years until he was eventually recaptured. Currently, he is incarcerated in a notorious American prison, his escape serving as a testament to his cunning and resourcefulness. In a detention center located in São Paulo, Brazil, a morning erupted into chaos, catching the guards completely by surprise as a meticulously coordinated riot unfolded. The majority of the 103 inmates—
So just a thing, if you're an officer in a prison, you should never ever not be on guard. never should have a situation where you are not on guard with everybody. Just because you never know what can happen in this case, where a riot just breaks out, a planned riot breaks out.
Took control of the situation, effectively taking 29 staff members, including the facility's director, as hostages. Inside the facility's yard, mattresses were set ablaze, further intensifying the turmoil. Surrounding the detention center, riot police positioned themselves. But strangely, it appeared that they all chose to take a coffee break simultaneously. The astonishing scene was captured by amateur videographers and a police helicopter. Numerous inmates scaled the walls, descended from trees, and sprinted across the open field, resembling agile commandos. Remarkably, 54 inmates, which accounted for over half the population, successfully made their escape. However, their newfound freedom was short-lived. Swiftly, news outlets reported that 17 fugitives were recaptured without delay, leaving little doubt that the remaining escapees would also be swiftly apprehended.
That's not guaranteed. You got 17 out of 54. There's still a bunch more to go. You gotta get a bunch more of them. Do I believe all of them might be recaptured? Yes, some point, but it's not guaranteed.
Sometimes, escaping from prison doesn't require elaborate planning and stress. It can all come down to a stroke of luck. Such a fortunate turn of events unfolded for 25-year-old inmate Michael Maldonado during a transfer in 2018. In a split second, he spotted the perfect opportunity as the police car transporting him halted at the prison entrance and the officer momentarily exited the vehicle. Maldonado wasted no time and made a daring attempt to escape that day.
Literally, that was probably the most easiest escape I've ever seen. The man opened the door, car, there was an unlocked door, just got in and left. He did that with the greatest of ease.
Trying multiple times before finally succeeding. He faced a minor setback as he struggled to open the garage door, which briefly delayed the pursuing police officer. However, Maldonado managed to make a getaway for a while, seeking refuge in the hills, although he was ultimately recaptured the following day. It was evident that the law enforcement officers were now more vigilant in their efforts.
I'd say.
In 2013, a 41-year-old man by the name of Benjamin Houdon Barbeau successfully escaped from St. Jerome Detention Center in Quebec, accompanied by his fellow inmate, Danny Provencal. It remains uncertain whether their connection formed during their time in prison or prior to incarceration. Together, they meticulously devised their escape plan, which ultimately unfolded on the day when their associates commandeered a helicopter in the vicinity of the prison. These associates coerced the pilot into flying them to the detention center, where they then lowered ropes for Barbeau and Provencal. In a remarkably swift maneuver, taking about 6 minutes, the two inmates climbed their way to liberty, and surprisingly, the guards refrained from opening fire or apprehending them. Subsequently, their accomplices flew away. However, within a few hours, all of them were captured, and the abducted pilot was found unharmed. In the Brazilian city of Recife, a group of inmates housed in an adult corrections facility decided to orchestrate a massive escape, determined not to be outdone by recent events. An unidentified individual swiftly deposits a package near the exterior wall, triggering a sudden explosion that created a substantial breach. Capitalizing on this unexpected opportunity,
I will admit, that's clever. I don't know how they pulled that off. I literally don't. I don't know what they did, but that is very clever.
The awaiting inmates made a swift break for freedom. Prior to this incident, prison guards had alerted authorities about the potential for such an eventuality due to understaffing and the lack of adequate guard towers. Surveillance footage recorded a flood of prisoners pouring through the crumbling walls. Remarkably, some of the inmates had a change of heart and retreated back inside.
That was the thing that I noticed. I was like, did I just have a moment where I just saw... I thought there was like people driving up and they're like, nope, fuck that, and they just ran back in. Because I was sitting there, I'm like, why are they running out and then back in? What the hell's going on? I thought they like didn't find the right exit or something.
While others sprinted in the opposite direction. In the end, 40 inmates successfully made their escape, with only one still at large. Tragically, 2 others were fatally apprehended by the police, while the remaining escapees were eventually recaptured. In the village of Louisiana, situated in the French department of Bouches-du-Rhône, stands a historic prison, which has witnessed numerous transformations during its 2 centuries of existence, yet continues to serve as a poignant reminder of a challenging past. This penitentiary, originally constructed with cutting-edge technology, once boasted an unparalleled reputation for its security measures. However, everything took a dramatic turn when Pascal Payette, a notorious criminal renowned for his audacious helicopter-assisted prison escapes, executed a daring getaway. His remarkable exploits captured the public's imagination and exposed the vulnerabilities of the prison's security. Payette, who had a troubled upbringing in France and became ensnared in a life of criminality, persisted in his endeavors despite multiple convictions and previous escapes, displaying unwavering determination. In our next case, we introduce Tori T. Smith, a resident of New Orleans who encountered an incredibly fortunate turn of events. The incident occurred back in 2009 when Tori, then 31 years old, found herself arrested and accused of battery and aggravated assault against her boyfriend. She was subsequently taken to the New Orleans Sheriff's Office for processing with the intention of being placed in central lockup. However, Destiny had other plans for her. Shortly after her arrival, an unidentified guard entered the jail and closed the door slowly, leaving it unlocked, for some unknown reason. He then requested another jail worker to grant him access, but once again, the door remained unlocked. Seizing this opportunity, Tori, who had been out of sight, keenly observed the mistake and promptly seized her chance for freedom. She astutely requested to use the bathroom and simply walked out of the jail, passing through both open doors unnoticed. Without wasting a moment, she made a dash for her escape.
I will give her major credit. That was done with such ease. That was probably the easiest thing. I bet that officer was never ever made. That door officer made that sure. Officer unlocked the door, unlocked it, and locked it again just to really make sure. She didn't even want to take the risk.
Tori managed to elude capture for a few hours until she was eventually found, rearrested, and faced not only her original battery charge, but also an additional charge of escape. In a bold twist of fate, Amber Gonzalez found herself in handcuffs while at the Baymont Hotel in Moreland. Left unattended in the holding cell, she had a brief moment to strategize her escape. In possession of a cell phone intended for arranging her bail, Amber decided to take matters into her own hands instead of making a call. With unwavering determination, she successfully liberated herself from the handcuffs, taking the Waukesha police by surprise. She swiftly located an emergency exit and made her getaway without drawing any attention. At a nearby gas station, chance brought her into contact with a truck driver. However, her newfound freedom proved to be short-lived, as she was apprehended just an hour later. In this video, we observe an escape attempt marked by a lack of proper planning. Blaze Ayer, a 28-year-old detainee, made an attempt to secure his freedom while at the Jackson County Sheriff's Office in Indiana. Finding himself with no clear escape route, he barricaded himself inside the medical room. Ayers then resorted to climbing into the ceiling, hoping to discover a means of exit. Unfortunately for him, his
What a stupid fuck. My man couldn't even escape prison well. He got up in the vent, then realized he couldn't get out, so now he had to come back down right with the guards and that waiting right for him.
noisy maneuver drew the attention of the officers, who promptly located him. Regrettably, he failed to take into account that ceilings cannot support the weight of a grown man. Consequently, he came crashing down in front of waiting officers who were armed with tasers. Surprisingly, the tasers proved unnecessary since Ayers was already entangled in electrical wiring. In December 2021, a man on his way to prison in Brazil did something very brave. A video that a lot of people watched shows him jumping out of a police car while his hands were tied. The police officers didn't notice and they continued driving. Can you believe how surprised they must have been when they got to the prison and he wasn't there anymore? We don't know if they caught him again, but
what happened here? How did this happen? What do I'm confused how you got in this position in the first place to be able to jump out and not be noticed.
based on how determined he was to escape, it doesn't seem like he wanted to go back to prison. In 2016, a 25-year-old prisoner named Rustam, who was incarcerated in Russia for theft, was determined to escape. He managed to squeeze through a very small food service hatch, even though it seemed too tiny. After getting through, Rustam found some clothes and quietly made his way towards the exit, taking advantage of the fact that there were no guards around. Perhaps he found another chance to slip through a narrow window as he moved through the hallways without making a sound. The inmate, Joe Green, decided to make a run for it during a medical appointment instead of going back to prison. A driver who happened to be nearby filmed him sprinting down the sidewalk with no shoes and still in his eye-catching orange jumpsuit. A deputy gave chase, but surprisingly, Green eluded capture for about 30 minutes. Ultimately, he headed straight to his former residence, the most obvious place for the officers to check, and they promptly caught him. As a result, he faced an additional charge for escaping from jail. Running her fingers through her hair and appearing utterly overwhelmed, she begins to question the choices she's made in life. The following day, she gets apprehended while the 3 men she was assisting are captured 5 days later. During a tense encounter with the police, a security camera in the alley captured the men, dressed in all white, calmly making their escape. Instead of relying on some fancy Houdini-style trick, they used their charm and charisma to their advantage. In Texas, they sweet-talk a female prison guard into aiding their escape, with her doing all the work. She disables the alarms, unlocks the doors, and provides a false head count, giving them an 11-minute head start. The prisoners manage to change into different clothes, all wearing white, and simply walk out through the prison gate. Meanwhile, the prison guard, clearly stressed about the situation, nervously runs her hands through her hair. She finds herself arrested the following day. The smooth-talking individuals are eventually apprehended after 5 days, having failed to charm any more prison officers, and that's the 3rd instance of their daring escape. In 2018, a man named
I love this one so much. This is one of the absolute. I mean this is one of the stupidest prison escapes I've ever. This is one of the stupidest escapes. Only because it's actually stupid how easy it was for this person to escape. This person didn't even need to try. He didn't need to think. He got out in about the span of 2.5 seconds.
Quantrell Schwarzlow found himself in a challenging predicament. He had been arrested for harming a girl and was taken to Rock County Jail. Despite being only 17 years old, he faced the prospect of jail time. Then, in October of the same year, while he was alone in an interview room, Quantrell decided to make a bold escape attempt. He took a daring leap from a height of 12 to 16 feet, which was quite impressive. His agility appeared reminiscent of a swimmer like Michael Phelps, and his speed akin to a sprinter like Usain Bolt. Nevertheless, his escape was short-lived, and he was discovered a few hours later at a friend's residence in Janesville. Not very clever. In Romania, there's an incident recorded on security cameras. 2 men are being escorted from a courthouse to a police van. One of them makes a split-second decision to escape by leaping over the fence, prompting the officer to give chase, inadvertently leaving the van's door wide open. The second man seizes this opportunity and bolts as well. The escort finds himself unable to pursue both of them. Additional help arrives, including a cleaning lady armed with a broom, but it's too late. One of the men is apprehended, but the other remains at large, putting the escort's job in jeopardy. Escaping from prison is a challenging feat, but in 1995, a group of inmates at Rådshusel State Prison in Copenhagen, Denmark, opted for a more direct approach, bypassing elaborate planning. Despite the imposing 26-foot wall surrounding the prison, they managed to breach it, leading to a tumultuous turn of events. According to reports, the inmates had carefully orchestrated their escape with the assistance of a former prisoner. On the outside, Cell phones were thrown over the walls to coordinate the operation. 12 prisoners, including individuals convicted of murder, bank robbery, and drug smuggling, seized the opportunity for freedom and caused chaos until the once formidable wall was reduced to rubble. However, their taste of liberty proved to be short-lived. A nationwide manhunt was launched, and within a month, all 12 escapees were recaptured. Within an Idaho prison, a daring move is made by inmate Nicholas Grove. Despite a guard stationed just 50 feet away, he makes a swift dash towards a fenced recreation yard, its top lined with razor wire, a barrier that has caused injuries to those who attempted it before. Astonishingly, Grove effortlessly surmounts this obstacle and makes his escape in broad daylight, vanishing into nearby neighborhoods. For more than a year, law enforcement monitored his Facebook page, where he carelessly shared selfies and divulged his location. While Grove may exhibit agility, his actions certainly don't reflect genius. The mastermind behind the escape unveils a concealed compartment beneath the bunk bed, exposing a cut metal screen that grants access to the ventilation system. He enters the network of pipes, and soon another man joins him, who later becomes a fugitive. Together, they capture their breakout on a smuggled cell phone as they scale the building and make their getaway. They savor their newfound freedom for a week, chronicling their adventure while residing in a borrowed home. Unfortunately, their taste of liberty is brief, as they are ultimately recaptured and sent back to prison. In the thrilling saga of Derek Etzel's jailbreak, he forms an unexpected partnership with his mother, Glenda, and his girlfriend, Tamara Lynn.
How exactly is him forming a planning? Of all people, how is his mom and his girlfriend helping him? Unexpected. Those are the people I would expect to help him. What do you mean?
Employing a shrewd strategy, Derek situated himself in close proximity to a small window, linking the prison to the adjacent waiting area. While a diversion is orchestrated, Tamara Lynn remains prepared in a getaway vehicle. Despite Derek's remarkable escape, their capture occurs within a month due to incriminating text messages sent by his mother. In Brazil, a prisoner made a bold escape attempt by immersing himself in a grimy shared toilet. Regrettably, there is no footage of the actual escape, but the consequences were unsanitary as the aftermath involved excrement. The unsuccessful escapee bore a resemblance to the character from The Shawshank Redemption. Eventually, two individuals managed to extricate him, bringing him back to his cell while he remained coated in the communal filth. Within a prison, a group of resourceful inmates were resolute in their quest for freedom. While some pursued elaborate schemes, these two prisoners opted for a more straightforward approach. They methodically devised their escape plan, strategically extracting several cinder blocks from the prison walls and slipping through the resulting openings. To avoid arousing suspicion, they concealed the gaps with posters and fashioned makeshift figures from pillows and blankets to deceive the vigilant guards. With their preparations complete, they embarked on their audacious maneuver. They draped a blanket over a towering razor wire fence, scaling it with agility, and vanished into the thick woods that lay beyond. However, despite their cunning tactics, destiny had other intentions. An observant local resident with a sharp eye detected muddy tracks near a creek and promptly alerted the authorities. As a consequence, the fugitives' luck took a turn for the worse, leading to their eventual capture. Casey White, a murder suspect who managed to escape custody, stands tall at an imposing height of 6'9". He issued threats against his former girlfriend's life, forcing her to remain in hiding and maintain her anonymity due to her fear of his anger.
If she is still alive, get the hell out. Run, run, run as far as you can and turn yourself in.
In 2015, White had attempted to both kidnap and take her life, resulting in a 75-year prison sentence. Shockingly, he has now eluded custody with the assistance of a deputy, leaving law enforcement agencies in a state of bewilderment due to the absence of any reported sightings, despite his unmistakable stature. This has led to widespread speculation regarding the deputy, Vicky, and whether she is still actively assisting him or has become a liability.
They've got weapons, that's what's scary. And does he really need Vicky anymore? That's the big question. Is she a liability? This guy's almost 7 foot tall, 260 pounds. She's 5 foot.
Absolutely, totally furious. I had no...
To think that someone could convince a deputy to help them escape is insane. Like, the charm and charisma and, like, the skills and that you would have to have vocally to be able to do that is insane.
No idea he was at the county prison at all, and for him to just be let out, it's horrible.
Meanwhile, Austin Williams, the grieving son, mourns his mother's tragic demise and strongly criticizes the flawed justice system. Meet Rashad Hawkins, who finds himself at...
Oh yeah, I didn't even cross my mind that like the woman he was scared of and hiding took the life. He took her life, and yeah, the justice system was flawed, and that woman, both of them, need to be found like now.
At the Meigs County Courthouse in Tennessee, where he's confronting incarceration due to unpaid child support. Despite the efforts of deputies to apprehend him, he evaded capture within the courtroom. Surveillance footage captured his daring escape as he vaulted over the railing and suspended himself momentarily before letting go. Notably, the pursuing deputies decided not to follow him. You can observe his legs swinging from above in the camera feed. Seizing the opportunity with no one near, he swiftly regains his footing and makes a dash for the exit. Individuals from the lower floors are drawn by the commotion.
Do you know how badly he could have injured himself there? He could have tore something, could have messed something up, could have knocked himself straight out. He could have done so many different things if that didn't go to plan, boy.
But by the time they arrive, he has already vanished. For nearly 3 weeks, he remained at large, until he was eventually apprehended more than 200 miles away. In addition to the outstanding Tennessee warrant, he now faces additional charges, including criminal trespassing, assault on a police officer, and resisting arrest. Unfortunately for Hawkins, his escape ultimately leads to further legal complications.
Yep.
In the picturesque town of Rochester Hills, Michigan, a courtroom scene unfolds. Jason Cordero listens to the judge deliver his sentence in a stern tone, condemning him to a 90-day jail term for charges of disorderly conduct and retail fraud. As the weight of the verdict settles in the room, an unusual spectacle captures the attention of everyone present. The court deputy, appearing disinterested, nonchalantly departs the courtroom. Cordero seizes this unexpected opportunity and makes a lightning-fast dash for the exit. Spectators watch in astonishment as Cordero sprints across the street, with the determined deputy closely pursuing him. Cameras capture the tense pursuit unfolding in the upper right corner of the screen. Cordero's heart races, but destiny intervenes, leading to his eventual recapture in a nearby wooded area after a brief escape. Now facing even more serious charges, including escaping law.
You just go like that. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna go. No, give me a minute. I'm just gonna go outside. I'm gonna go outside. I swear I heard a noise. I'm gonna go outside and check. I swear. No, I swear I did. Excuse me. I swear I heard a noise.
For custody and resisting arrest, Cordero's predicament has escalated from bad to worse. The once silent courtroom now buzzes with the aftermath of this eventful sentencing. There was a man named Lee McNair who had a tough life. Even though he was smart.
This one is insane on how this officer should have lost his job for this amount of stupidity. I'm honestly serious. This officer should have lost his job for this stupidity. This guy, the prisoner deserves credit here, because he came up with a story on the fly. But this officer should just easily know better.
He ended up in prison for 2 life sentences, plus 30 more years for burglary. In 1992, he tried to escape through a ventilation pipe, but got caught the next year. But his big escape happened in April 2006 from a super secure federal prison in Louisiana. Lee's prison job was fixing torn mail bags, and that's where he thought up his clever plan. He used stuff he found to make a fake escape pod with a breathing tube. One day, he hid inside the pod among some mail bags on a forklift. When the warehouse workers went for lunch, he saw his chance and ran away. As Lee jogged by some railroad tracks, a police officer stopped him, thinking he was an escaped prisoner. But incredibly, Lee convinced the officer that he was someone else, even though he had no ID. He said that he was Robert Jones, a roofer at a nearby hotel. The officer checked, but didn't find any proof that he was an escapee.
Do you have any form of identification on you? No, man. What's your name?
That is insane how this guy... I swear, if I was that officer, I'd never be able to look myself in the mirror. I'd never be able to look myself in the mirror again, because I'd be like, I'll let that guy escape. He was right there. I had the chance to capture the escaped prisoner, and I let him escape just because of the stupid story he gave me. That's has so many holes in it. This... If I was this officer, I could never look myself in the mirror again.
Name? Robert Jones. What's your address? I don't have an address. I'm at the hotel. We're working on houses and stuff like that, the roofing.
As Lee continued jogging, the officer warned him to carry ID next time. Lee smiled and agreed, promising to be more careful.
You got an escapee. Oh, where from? A prison. Hey, this is Carl. Subject wear glasses? Nothing about glasses. How old is your guy? You're how old?
50. Born 56.
Let me just verify. He says his brother's staying at the motel. Let me verify that. You know the bad thing about it?
What's that?
You'll match it up to him.
Come on. We just got into town about a week ago, and he dropped me off to jog. I always jog about 12 miles a day.
I'm just doing my job,
I know
man.
you are.
If you do jog again in the future, carry some ID with you. Be careful, buddy.
Thank you.
All right.
So, Lee McNair's brave escape made him a famous fugitive, but he knew he couldn't relax as he continued his journey to freedom. There lived a clever young man named Frank Abagnale Jr. During his early adulthood, he possessed a unique skill for crafting counterfeit checks. But Frank's talents didn't stop there. He was also a master of disguise. He could effortlessly assume various roles, such as a pilot, a university professor, and interestingly, a doctor. Surprisingly, the role of a doctor, despite being the most challenging, turned out to be the easiest for him. He took charge of interns during the midnight shift, confidently handling medical situations despite lacking any medical background. The interns respected him and followed his instructions. However, Frank's crafty adventures eventually came to an end when he was apprehended and sentenced to 12 years in the federal detention center in Atlanta. Yet, fate appeared to smile upon him when a U.S. Marshal forgot to bring his detention papers. This oversight led the prison guards to mistake Frank for a prison inspector contracted by the FBI. Seizing this fortunate mix-up, Frank contacted his friend Gene Sebring, and together they devised a plan to create counterfeit credentials, transforming Frank into an official prison inspector.
This is amazing. This man is what I love this guy. I honestly love this guy. Is insanely dangerous, but I love the fact how quick his brain works. People thought he was a prisoner inspector, misinterpreted him for that. So he immediately, his calculated brain heard that. He goes, okay, I need fake credentials. I need anything to make it seem like I am that prison inspector. That way they never will arrest me.
And an FBI agent. In his role as a prison inspector, Frank charmed the guards, persuading them to allow him to leave the prison in a car to meet his supposed FBI partner, Gene Sebring. Just like that, right under their noses, Frank Abagnale Jr. executed his brilliant escape.
That is incredible. Honestly incredible.
Newly released surveillance footage unveils the dramatic courthouse escape of Eli Villalobos, a 28-year-old murder suspect from Oregon. The video captures the moment when Villalobos skillfully freed his hands and legs from shackles just before his impending trial on serious charges, including second-degree murder in the 2021 killing of 33-year-old Artemio Guzman Alvera. Following his escape, an intense 2-hour manhunt unfolded as law enforcement combed the area in search of Villalobos. Eventually, he was found hiding beneath a blanket inside a closet in an apartment, thanks to a vigilant caller who reported suspicious activity involving a man attempting to break into a nearby unit. Authorities successfully apprehended Villalobos, returning him to custody. Subsequently, he faced additional legal consequences, including 2 additional counts of first-degree burglary and 1 charge of second-degree escape. On August 4, 2008, a momentous event was on the horizon for Sarah Jo Pender, an inmate at Rockville Correctional Facility. Sarah, a 29-year-old woman, had reached her breaking point within the confines of imprisonment, yearning for a fresh start that would distance her from a troubled past. She firmly believed in her innocence, or at least her partial innocence, regarding the crime for which she was accused. Her life had taken a dark...
Hold on, her date of birth is January 1st, 0001. What? She was born on January 1st. She was born on January 1st in the first ever year that existed? She's... what?
dark turn after leaving Purdue University and becoming entangled with dubious individuals. Her heart belonged to Richard Hall, a man with a criminal record, and she shared an apartment with another problematic couple, Andrew Cataldi and Tricia Norman. The circumstances leading up to her incarceration were tragic. A fatal altercation in 2000 between Richard and Andrew resulted in the loss of both Andrew and Tricia. Sarah maintained her innocence, but she was arrested, tried, and ultimately convicted. Despite the absence of DNA evidence, she received a harsh sentence of 110 years behind bars, driven by her...
That's a harsh sentence for someone with no DNA evidence or no nothing. What was your evidence? That she was there? So just because she was there, in general, she was set... I question that a bit.
determination to escape, Sarah sought the assistance of corrections officer Scott Spittler, with whom she had a sexual relationship. She promised him $15,000 in exchange for aiding in her escape. On that eventful day in 2008, she slipped out of her cell, changed into civilian attire, and escaped the prison with Spittler. However, her path to freedom was far from smooth. She encountered another former inmate, Jamie Long, who played a role in her escape. Sarah eventually made her way to Chicago, where she assumed a false identity. Her dreams of a new life were shattered, though, when a neighbor recognized her from a TV show about fugitives. Law enforcement arrested her, and she was returned to prison. Sarah...
What are the odds? What are the odds? She got away, she got to Chicago, she was safe, and then one neighbor happened to notice her from a TV show about fugitives and knocked on a set to be captured. What are the odds?
Sarah's case remains contentious, with some believing she was wrongly convicted. Even the persecutor, Larry Sells, who once compared her to Charles Manson, now supports her claim of innocence. Despite her unwavering efforts to appeal her conviction, justice continues to elude her. Now,
well, here's the thing, and now they could even make the argument that, like, listen, she might be a thing, but she did escape prison. She did plan and escape prison. So it doesn't matter that she's, like, if she is, and we could overturn that sentence, she's still sitting in prison for a sentence for escaping prison.
at the age of 43, Sarah Jo Pender persists in her fight for freedom, hopeful that one day the system will rectify its errors and acknowledge her innocence. In the garage, a group of inmates make their way back to their cells under the watchful eyes of the guards. One of them lingers behind, quietly slipping away from the group and concealing himself behind a transport van, all while the guards remain unaware. To his surprise, he discovers the key left in the van's ignition, a stroke of unexpected luck. Feeling as though the universe was on his side, he seized the opportunity for freedom by starting the van and speeding through the garage door. However, fate takes a sudden turn as the van collides with a cluster of trees, abruptly ending.
Great job, bro. Fucking great job, man. Drives through the garage door thinking he's got away and then smashes into trees immediately. immediately ending his pursuit about a span of 2.5 seconds.
ending his fleeting taste of freedom. Before long, he is recaptured and taken into custody. A story of a jailbreak gone awry. While most individuals steal cars to land themselves in jail, he managed to reverse that sequence of events. In a quaint town, Sheriff Donnie Barrera discusses the case of Nicholas Garrison, a 33-year-old man recently charged with a felony related to methamphetamine. During his sentencing, Garrison makes a sudden escape from the courtroom, prompting deputies to give chase. Deputy Ben Reno attempted to apprehend him, but ends up injuring himself, sustaining fractured ribs and a mild concussion in the process. Barrera mentioned
He dives over like some graceful swan.
Sustaining fractured ribs and a mild concussion in the
Look at the leap. Look at the gracefulness of this leap before the man
process.
makes a sudden
Barrera
smack
mentions
against the stairs
that Garrison
and
might have
falls down
altered his
the
appearance.
fucking st- Who would have thought such a graceful jump took such a tragic turn? Who would have thought you wouldn't have been able to catch him like that?
Possibly by shaving his hair.
I talked to him this morning. He's still in a lot of pain. He had some fractured ribs and a concussion, a mild concussion, I guess. And I think he said he broke 4 ribs. At the time of his escape,
Oh, it's so brutal. Oh, it's so funny.
through the court, he had bright dyed blue hair.
Additionally, Garrison's former accomplice is currently incarcerated on child endangerment charges, facing a potential 1-year jail term and a fine of up to $2,500. In Bradford, UK, Callum Fittner stands before the courthouse, showing his support for his 17-year-old friend who is on the other side of the courtroom doors. The young friend has been sentenced to 21 weeks in custody for the theft of a mobile phone. Demonstrating his determination, Fittner presses the button to open the automatic door, granting his teenage companion a chance to flee. Swiftly, the young escapee dashes out of the courtroom, prompting security officers to give chase. Meanwhile, Fittner takes a different route to exit the building. He descends the steps calmly, as if nothing unusual had occurred, successfully evading the security officers and vanishing into the distance. After 2 days on the run, authorities apprehend the runaway teen, who is then slapped with an additional 6-month jail term for the escape. Fittner, too, faces repercussions for his actions.
Of course it would. You trying to help a prisoner escape. What are you doing?
He admits to aiding and abetting his friend's escape and is sentenced to 3 months in jail. This story reflects the bonds of loyalty and a bold escape that ultimately led both friends to face consequences. Despite Fittner's intentions to assist, they find themselves on the wrong side of the law, learning a valuable lesson about the importance of making responsible decisions. In a riveting story of crime and evasion, a man finds himself cornered by law enforcement upon reaching a specific location. These officers are prepared to apprehend him, and he is held in custody until his bond hearing next week. The situation takes a dramatic twist when we learn about an inmate who escaped from the courthouse just last week. As a manhunt is underway, with 4 individuals already arrested in connection to the case, a 5th person named Walter now faces charges for aiding in the escape during a court hearing. Despite his alleged involvement, Walter's attorney asserts that he exhibited exemplary behavior while in custody.
This court is not satisfied, sir, that you would not be a danger to the community should you be released.
There is nothing in it for him. He's been a model person while in custody. We're actively working on his other case to get him exonerated.
Simultaneously, another woman accused of assisting in the escape becomes visibly emotional during her court appearance. In response to these incidents, security measures are intensified, and authorities raise the reward for the recapture of the escaped inmate to $50,000. Allow me to introduce Tanner Jacobson and Cody Howard.
These two are stupid. these two are just stupid. I don't know what they were thinking. One got away, one doesn't. And then their interviews afterwards just make them look even more stupid.
Incarcerated individuals situated in Chehalis, Washington, clad in prisoner uniforms and restrained by handcuffs, they find themselves outside the Lewis County Courthouse. Tanner faces charges related to reckless driving and driving with suspended license, while Cody bears a more extensive list of charges, including second-degree burglary, first-degree trafficking in stolen property, third-degree driving with a suspended license, and 2 outstanding warrants for failure to appear in court. Remarkably, as they appear in court, no deputies are present to oversee them. Seizing the moment, Tanner and Cody embark on a daring escape. Cody takes the lead, with Tanner following suit, and although a bystander nearby attempts to intervene, they are restrained. Unexpectedly, Judge R.W. Buzzard springs into action, shedding his robe and pursuing the fleeing inmates. Even with handcuffs and sandals still on, Tanner and Cody race through the stairwell on the 3rd floor.
Why was he told not to help? Is he another prisoner or something? I don't know why he was told not to help. I'll be the I don't know why. I don't get why he was told not to get involved. I don't get that.
The resolute judge closes in on them.
If he's another prisoner, I understand it, because of course you're not gonna let the 3rd prisoner escape. You ain't gonna trust his ass. But if he's not there for any other reason, I don't know why he'd be. I don't get it.
Intensifying the chase, Cody is swiftly apprehended, but Tanner temporarily eludes capture. Tanner later reflects on his impulsive decision to run, acknowledging a moment of panic. However, his brief escape comes to an end as he is apprehended just a few blocks away.
You get like 4 blocks and then I stopped. Like I just stopped on my own. I'm like, what am I doing right now?
I said, what am I doing? What did I just do? I gotta go with it now. There's nothing, I can't stop right here. There's nothing I can do now. I'm screwed.
We were sitting there on the benches together and he's like, I'm gonna run. It was just a split second decision. I don't even know why I did it. Like I would be out of here if I wouldn't.
Both men face charges of second-degree escape, leading to their sentences. Tanner receives a sentence of 1 year and 1 day, while Cody is sentenced to slightly over 3 years behind bars. This audacious...
This just shows the stupidity of human beings. I'm not even joking. This shows the stupidity of human beings. You wouldn't have, He, wouldn't have been Bailey in there that long if he wouldn't have tried to escape. Sorry, my brain went blank there for a second. My apologies.
This courthouse escape serves as a stark reminder that evading the law is never a wise choice, as justice inevitably catches up, sooner or later.
Also, credit for the judge. He had some stamina on him. He made sure he caught up to those guys.
At the Clinton Correctional Facility, 2 individuals by the name of Richard Matt and David Sweat were serving
David Sweat. Jesus, what a shitty last name.
lengthy prison sentences. In 2002, Sweat received a life sentence, while Matt was handed a 25 years to life sentence in 2008. Fate brought them together when they were assigned to a shared workstation, leading to the formation of an audacious escape plan. Their strategy began by requesting to be relocated to adjacent cells, facilitating their collaboration. They astutely manipulated 2 correctional officers, Gene Palmer and Joyce Mitchell, winning their favor to support their escape plan.
Down there multiple nights, and he did most of the work, and they cut through the pipes. It was just persistent.
Sweat, particularly, spent multiple nights working diligently, primarily responsible for the laborious task of cutting through the prison pipes. Concealing tools within hamburger meat, including hacksaws and chisels, they covertly executed their plan. With unwavering determination, the resolute pair spent months gradually digging holes in their cell walls. By February, they had made significant progress, successfully cutting through the thick steel. Their relentless efforts eventually led them to the ground floor, where they breached a steam pipe. Working tirelessly late into the night, they finally emerged from the prison grounds through a manhole. Their escape was nothing short of extraordinary, driven by sheer persistence. In the 1960s, the notorious Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary held 3 inmates, Clarence Anglin, John Anglin, and Frank Morris. Alcatraz had earned a
These are the three that no one knows if they survived or if they died. No, literally no one knows.
formidable reputation as the world's most impregnable prison, having thwarted 13 escape attempts between 1934 and 1961. However, one day, Frank Morris conceived an audacious escape plan. He enlisted the aid of the Anglin brothers and a skilled car thief named Alan West. Their meticulous preparations spanned several months, including the pilfering of spoons and bandsaw blades to enlarge the ventilation ducts within their cells. Each night, they toiled quietly, masking their efforts with Morris's accordion music. They discreetly drilled small holes around the existing vents, cleverly concealing their activities. On June 11, 1962, the trio set their escape plan in motion. Donning false heads fashioned from pillows, they navigated the utility tunnel. Regrettably, Alan West's cell grate became stuck, leaving him behind. Undaunted, the remaining three descended down a pipe from the prison roof and vanished into the night, ultimately reaching the shoreline. The legendary escape of Clarence Anglin, John Anglin, and Frank Morris remains an enduring enigma in American history, captivating the imaginations of people for decades with their audacious bid for freedom. In recent times, the transgender rights movement has garnered considerable support, with a focus on respecting individuals' decisions to live authentically. However, in an unusual turn of events, Clavino da Silva, also known as Shorty, took this concept to an extreme level. Shorty was a well-known leader of a drug gang in Brazil and had served a lengthy prison sentence. Determined to escape, he devised a plan involving his 19-year-old daughter's visit. During the visit, he disguised himself as her by donning fake glasses, a wig, and a mask. His intention was to be smuggled out while leaving his daughter behind. Nevertheless, prison officials grew suspicious, leading to his
Some bitch wanted a 19-year-old visit. He wanted to pretend to be the 19-year-old, escape, and leave the damn daughter behind. What a piece of
his arrest and later his tragic demise while in solitary confinement. The circumstances surrounding this incident are undeniably peculiar, don't you think?
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all for the next one.